Ooh, what's up, Internet? It's time to do a spoiler chat for Mortal Kombat! Did you appreciate that I took it away from you?
Yeah, that was nice.
My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
We get Nerdy Nightly?
And we thought we'd share it with you.
Yeah. All right.
I should have known that this video would need a headphone warning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I should have seen that one coming, and I apologize.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat, y'all. It's a movie. It came out, and we're going to talk about it, full spoilers. We're not going to do a non-spoiler thing, so this is the only thing you're getting. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, and you're wondering if we think that you should, I would say that there are fight sequences that Mortal Kombat fans will enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Outside of that, I can't recommend this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like... Okay.
Would you disagree with that?
No. I agree with you. There are things that the movie does well,
mm-hmm.
which, a lot of the effects and the combat and the fighting and stuff look really good.
Yeah.
Some of it's cheesy. But they are making a movie based on a video game, and that can be a really tough thing to do. No?
This is where the problems start for me. Making a movie based on a video game is fine.
Yeah.
It's not been done well much.
No.
But it has been done well. A couple of times. What this movie, I think, fails at most is its premise changes the video game lore in a way that makes it harder for this movie to be interesting. Mm-hmm. And what's so fascinating about this movie is that they take a step away from a central part of Mortal Kombat lore.
Yeah.
Which is that you can't cheat.
Right.
That, it has to come down to the tournament, right? And it gives the tournament stakes, and it makes the tournament this, all-important thing.
Yeah.
They take that out of the movie.
Yeah, they're literally like, we haven't won 9 in a row because, we didn't cheat.
Yeah.
And you're
yeah.
like, oh, okay.
And so, but because of that, the movie then, from a plot perspective, spends the entire runtime trying to justify when and where people fight. Which is bizarre because Mortal Kombat already comes with a justification for that. And so the fact that they threw out the justification that they had in order to spend the entire movie trying to justify the plot felt really bizarre.
Yeah, even in the opening sequence, I was like, oh, he just has this guy just been in hiding and Sub-Zero came out of nowhere and was like, screw that guy. I don't...
I actually like the beginning. I think the opening of the movie is really strong.
I think the opening of the movie is really strong, but then when you, throw in everything else, I had so many more questions. And so it didn't really work for me.
Yeah, because they say it's 1,000 years ago, and you're like, well, what?
I think
what
it was
they...
4,000 years ago or something like that.
Maybe, but whatever the time period was.
Maybe, yeah.
It just raises the question of what were they doing in between? Also, when was the last tournament?
No idea.
I
don't know.
Was the first tournament against Neanderthals? What? It opened up so many weird questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. And
just really quickly, what I was saying about the combat being cheesy, I mean, you are basing something on a video game, and so they are trying to do it service in that way because...
And they do.
Yeah, it was very exaggerated and over the top and gory, which is the game, and I think that they kind of accomplished their goal in that sense.
Oh, 100%.
Whether or not that makes for a good movie, it doesn't, whatever.
The fight sequences are very fun, and I liked almost all of them. A couple of them are a little low effort.
Yeah, some of them felt kind of lame, especially in the midst of everything else that was going on, and some of the effects in the fight scenes dropped a little.
Yep.
And
some of them look great.
Some of them look really good.
What's weird about this movie to me, and I actually watched Jeremy John's review of this, and he's made this point, and I agree with him 100%, where he was like, this movie has both ends of the spectrum on everything. Some stuff is really good, and some stuff is really bad, and there's a lot of there's a lot of everything, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, the tone sometimes feels really cool and sometimes feels really out of place.
Yeah.
And the characters sometimes feel like they're being acted really well by certain actors, and then
Honestly,
other actors are like planks of wood.
Honestly, I have to say, I found pretty much all of the characters really boring.
Except Kano.
Yeah.
Kano's great. Kano's the star of the movie for me.
Better, for sure. I think at times he was like a little bit much. Like they felt like they were trying really hard.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like character goes, he was definitely the most interesting. Everyone else, honestly, was boring.
I liked Kung Lao and Liu Kang.
They're fine.
I liked them. I like Jax. I was more into Jax than you were.
Yeah, I find it boring. Like he had a couple good one-liners, but one-liners are not character. You know, like
but that's the problem with the script. I don't blame any. I don't think the actors did a bad job.
No. I am talking specifically about the characters.
Yeah,
I found them boring.
Well, yeah, because a lot of it is like, and I get it.
And it's not about the characters.
Because there's stuff that I get excited about when it's like, oh, that's the thing that's the line from the game, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes those lines don't
work.
Translate well to a scene.
Yeah.
And there's a few in this movie, like there's just like, and sometimes it's like rack zooms where like the camera like pushes in on the character's face for them to say the line, and you're like, there's a part of me, the like 12-year-old part of me that was in my friend Trent's basement playing Mortal Kombat was like, hell yeah. But then there's the like adult in me who's like been in a conversation with another human who's like, that's not really how people talk.
No, not really.
Yeah. So here, one of the questions around this movie, because you are not a Mortal Kombat fan.
I don't know anything about Mortal Kombat.
So can you guess which character was made up for the movie?
Which one was made up for the movie?
Yeah, because every character in this is a Mortal Kombat character except one. Is
it the Soul Eater guy?
No.
Okay, just because he didn't really do much fighting, so I just
wondered. That's not what he does. Him and Raiden are on like,
Yeah. Okay. So okay.
It's like how like Sauron doesn't like go out and get the ring himself. He sends the Nazgul. I'm trying to use language she'll understand.
I understand that. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. I'm trying to think, and I feel like
I'm actually really I'm surprised you. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Is it the main character?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say then I think it's got to be
Cole.
Cole.
The new character to the franchise. I wanted to ask you that because as someone who has played most of the games, I haven't played past Mortal Kombat 9. That was the last one I played. He felt like he was very fish out of water to me, as well as being a fish out of water to the plot of the movie. Mm-hmm. And I get why they did it, but I was curious if it stood out to you in the same way that stood out to me. And I'm happy to hear it didn't.
It did a little bit. Like I said, he's my second guess. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. The what gives it away is that like he doesn't have like a like name or like a thing that they're like Scorpion or whatever, and you're like, okay.
In Mortal Kombat, that's not always a thing though. Like Sonya Blade.
No, but everybody is like. Here's the thing. Everybody's names feel distinct and like purposeful, and then there's Cole. And
that's
you're like,
fair.
Oh, cool.
That's fair.
And
I also didn't really understand what his ability was.
It's kind of what I thought it was, is that he's got kind of like armor that takes and stores energy and then blasts it back out.
That's where I thought it was going to go, but then the blast out never really happened. And then he suddenly had a tonfa.
It did in the first bit. He did the uppercut.
And that uppercut did not seem super strong, though. It just seemed like he uppercutted him. Like, that was a normal mortal... Like, I was waiting for him to have the, like, his finishing move.
Here's the thing. He's a normal dude fighting a, like, four-armed ogre. So the fact that he was able to,
Yeah, but it's Mortal Kombat. You can't... They're all stronger than they should be.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like, my thing with it was I was expecting him to have... Because he had the armor, right? And the armor was super cool. And I was like, oh, cool. He's like... It's like literally like Black Panther's armor. He like takes in energy and then he'll be able to expel that energy somehow. Yeah. But then he also got the... I think it's called the Tonfa. I hope I'm getting that right. His like weapons. And so it was like... it was a hat on a hat. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh no, he should just have the armor. Like, the armor was enough of a thing the fact that he has weapons that he can like command into his hands magically just felt like it was like, well, we didn't really need it, right?
Yeah, yeah, it felt like a little bit of overkill.
Yeah, so I didn't really know what it was supposed to be.
I think the worst part about it is they didn't really commit to either one. They didn't commit to it being like an energy absorber and releaser, and they didn't commit to him being a swordsman. So it was very confusing. I was like, nah, just pick one.
Yeah, that was definitely the thing. It got muddled into, because like Sonya has her things, you know what I mean? Like Liu Kang has his thing. They all have their thing, and then he has like his body.
He's gonna have cool armor, and then he's gonna be able to take a lot of hits.
Fires up when he takes a hit. Yeah.
Get fire. Like, did the fire? I'm assuming the fire came from Scorpion, right? It didn't come from him.
Yes, the fire came from Scorpion.
Okay, the fire came from Scorpion, but yeah, then he had swords, and then it was. Yeah.
What was your favorite fight in the movie?
My favorite fight in the movie. Honestly, probably the first one, the opening scene fight.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite in the movie just because it felt it set up the movie well. It was like gory as hell, but it somehow felt more grounded and like real.
Well, because other than some slight ice powers from Sub-Zero, the opening fight is the most choreographed. It has a lot of people involved in an interesting way.
Yeah.
And it feels really that like the character motivation there is so clear, right? Like this like guy who's like just found his dead family. It's such a strong, like evocative image.
Yeah, and like none of the final fights really I felt strongly about, except maybe I really loved I love that they had the blonde girl. I'm sorry.
Sonya Blade.
Sonya Blade. I love that they had him. They had her kick. Oh God, what's
Kano?
Kano. I don't know these people's names.
That sequence was pretty. I enjoyed their fight.
I liked that they had a little mini fight when they were on their way to the temple, and like she kicked his ass, and then kicked his ass again later on. Like that fight was actually kind of interesting because she doesn't have any powers or abilities, and he's kind of a crap fighter. So she was able to outwit him and like outmaneuver him in a way, even though he had a laser eye. So those are the three kind of things in the two, I guess, because I count kind of their feud as one. I liked how it kind of resolved itself, but yeah, the opening sequence I thought was really, really incredible, and then I liked their fight and their resolution at the end, and she gets her tattoo, but. Yeah, that's about it. None of the other fights really stood out to me, except obviously when that like harpy was sawed in half by the helmet.
That was great. That was a highlight for me. I think my when I reflect on the fights in this movie, there are a lot of scenes like that where I really like that moment. Right. I like the fight between Cole and Goro. It was fun to see Goro. I'm a Goro fan. I don't know. I like things with four arms. It's like my nostalgia from a champ when I was a kid.
Noted.
But I found a lot, like, and this goes back to the taking the Mortal Kombat plot out of Mortal Kombat, is the fun thing about Mortal Kombat to me is these like one-on-one fights where you can't cheat. It all comes down to technique. And this movie was all about cheating, right? And because of that, the fights got cut up because there were so many fights happening at once that the 1v1s got like, you would see 3 moves from one fight and then 3 moves from another fight and then 3 moves from another fight, and you never really got connected to the ups and downs of a single fight. And what's really amazing about fighting games, and like what's so amazing about the scene around fighting games, is a strong comeback in a fight, or the dynamic shifts of who has the power in the fight, who has the upper hand, and that switching back and forth as a player gets the right block in and stuff like that. And what this movie never really hit on for me, outside of the Scorpion and Sub-Zero fights, was getting to feel like these fights had any build. Like the first time the bad guys fought the good guys, they kicked their butts. The second times the good guys kicked the bad guys' butts, and that was about as much like that was kind of it. Like Jax and the General, their first fight, the General's just beating the crap out of him because his arms don't work yet. Then Jax comes back and Jax beats the crap out of him because his arms work. And there wasn't within those two fights, there wasn't a lot of up and down for either side.
Yeah, we didn't really get to feel the payoff.
Yeah.
Because it was too disjointed.
And because it always had another thing to cut to. Like a fight, like Jax finished the general off, and then instead of getting a moment to enjoy that, we're cut to the next fight with Liu Kang and...
That's why I find... This is going to be so random, but this is why I find the Game of Thrones books hard to read. Is because it's like, you get a thing, and you're invested in it, and then you move on and you jump over to the next thing, and it's like, no, but we didn't get any real, like, resolution for any of it. And that's why the characters felt so flat, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They didn't get...
Well, and there's and the end of the movie's weird, right? Because like they didn't win a Mortal Kombat tournament.
No, there was no like
killed a lot
tournament.
of people, but like it was like they stopped the bad guys from cheating
by cheating.
But they still have to fight the tournament, right? Like they don't have a choice. The tournament is still going to happen. So it's just really. And I get it. They think they're going to get a sequel, right? And I feel like this movie really felt like it was going to get a sequel because it's not Mortal Kombat. This is the prequel to Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And I am a little bit disappointed that I got a prequel movie instead of just give me Mortal. Like there's no reason to make a prequel first.
Yeah.
Just give me Mortal Kombat, right? Like, and I don't know. I don't know why they went that way. I don't really understand.
Yeah, like, I feel like you as a Mortal Kombat fan are kind of disappointed, and me as a not Mortal Kombat fan, I am also kind of disappointed in nobody wins.
Yeah, like, I got here's the thing, the fan service works. All of the fan service in this movie works. Like, the moves that you wanted to see are in the movie. From the characters who are in the movie. The people,
The
lines from the game are in the movie. That kind of stuff is in the movie.
The fatalities.
But like turning Mortal Kombat into a movie didn't happen. It's just a
It's almost inspired by.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's a shame because they got the right cast. Like, I don't really feel like anyone was miscast. I feel like they got the right people for the job.
Yeah.
I would have done. I honestly like, and I liked Cole. But like you could have used a character we already knew. But honestly, you could have just taken that character out and just made Sonya Blade the lead of the film.
Yeah.
The most baffling thing is that Sonya isn't the lead of this film, right? Her not having the mark, but collecting the fighters who do have the mark, only to get the mark. She has more of an arc in this movie and something that isn't just like the most typical.
Yeah, Cole's like, I got a family and I make money for him.
Well, and he's like, he becomes the like destined prophecy boy.
Yeah, but he's not like a person. Like he has no like. There's nothing interesting about him except that he's a descendant of such and such person, like that we saw.
And they keep going into the fact that he used to be a great fighter but isn't anymore, and I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, like that's so boring.
It would be interesting if we knew why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if there was, Yeah.
Yeah, there was so many. I think there were just so many people in the film that they didn't like get to focus in on anybody, and that's kind of a shame. Because there was some stuff in there that I was like, that's good, that's well done.
It's well shot. It looks gorgeous.
It looks great.
Yeah,
but
I mean, like the palette of the movie is really pleasing to the eye. Is that weird to say?
No.
I just feel like they took like a color scheme that made it really like it's a consistent warm tone across the movie that's like cut up by Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
In a way that like, you know, people talk about the like teal and orange films where you have because those two colors play against each other really well.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of warm like orangey looks to a lot of things, and then Sub-Zero would cut that with his color. It was that part of it was really cool, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. As a movie to like recommend it, I wouldn't. Unless you want to see some, like, decent, like, fight sequences, then maybe have it on while you're working or something, but...
Well, and look, I think that, like, we're gonna get comments from people who say, like, it's just a movie, like, you know, the fights are why it's good. And, like, I disagree with that, particularly about Mortal Kombat. I feel like Mortal Kombat has always had a very interesting, deep lore to it. And, like, it would have been... it would have been really fun to see that lore explored a little bit more faithfully, and I honestly think it would have made it easier to make the movie.
Yeah, and if you're gonna make a movie but like not have a plot in it, then make something else. Like, I don't know, make a bunch of like expensive...
There isn't really a plot, right? Like,
yeah, make a bunch of expensive like YouTube videos of just combat.
Because there's this idea in the film that the bad guys, if they win the tournament, they win. Yes. And so the humans are not going to win this tournament because their team sucks. And so by cheating, the bad guys make the good team good enough to win the tournament.
Well, exactly. If they hadn't have cheated, they wouldn't have found their like powers, a few of them and stuff like that. Like it just it's kind of a mess. I was like, you guys suck at this.
Yeah, I was like, how did you win the last 9?
Yeah, I need to know because something's missing here.
Yeah. It's
it took the importance away from like Mortal Kombat, like the tournament, you know, like
100%.
That felt like it meant nothing, literally nothing. The movie basically ignored it. Like it wasn't like as a viewer who hasn't played the games, I was like, okay, so it doesn't matter.
Well, and that's what sucks, right? Is like now more the tournament. If we get a sequel, I'm assuming it will be the tournament, but that just should have been this movie.
Yeah, no. It should have been. I would have preferred that.
It's weird. It's tough because like I enjoyed it, right? Like I enjoyed watching this movie because I enjoyed the fight sequences. I thought the actors were all the right casting choices made for the film. Yeah, but it was just definitely like there really isn't much of a plot.
Yeah, it was fine to like watch before my eyes, but I was not invested in any way. Like it was just a thing that was happening that I was like, cool. Yeah,
it was like, what if we just put Mortal Kombat characters in a very generic action movie, because they're not in a Mortal Kombat movie, and that is really confusing to me. Yeah, the whole thing is they can't cheat. Like the whole Mortal Kombat thing is like you have to fight in the tournament because there's no other way to win. You can't cheat. That's the thing. And so to be like, we're gonna forget about the thing and we're just gonna do this other thing is so. It's just and video game movies keep doing this. Video game movies keep being like, all right, we have this great idea. Assassin's Creed is this amazing franchise that spends time in the past with famous people. What are we going to do? We're going to focus on the present that nobody cares about when they play the games.
Yeah, literally.
And like every time one of these video game movies comes out, it's like
I feel like video game movies are never made by like gamers.
I feel like they're made by people who read the Wikipedia for the video game.
Yeah. Yeah, disappointing.
Because the truth is, and this is going to sound crazy, but I prefer the 90s Mortal Kombat movie to this. It's sillier. It's way, way, way sillier, but it's got like the spirit of Mortal Kombat more than this does. This looks a lot better, and so it's like cool in that way because it looks amazing. But the like spirit of Mortal Kombat and the like is just more in the old one. And honestly, when you put more money into something, my expectation for things like plot go up.
Yeah. If you're gonna make like a C movie. That's like based off Mortal Kombat and it's gonna be like cool fighting, but like you don't have the money behind the effects and whatever, then yeah, I feel like you're more willing to forgive stuff like that because it's clearly more of a passion project. It's something that you just were like you wanted to make happen. But when there's this much money behind it, when there's this much production value, you need a reasonable plot.
Well, and what really bugs me about Cole is as a lead, if you're gonna write a lead into your movie, typically the lead makes choices which influence their journey and changes and the successes and failures of their choices change them by the end of the film. Cole doesn't do that.
Doesn't do anything, really.
Has the mark, and so he gets dragged around. He's bad at it, so he gets sent home. His family is in danger, so a magic power awakens with him and he wins. But, like, he's not an active, like...
He's not a character. He's not a human.
The only thing that makes him special is his power, unfortunately. And, like, that is just... I don't know. It's a shame, right? Because like I honestly feel like if you had taken him out of the movie, and I don't want to, I'm not trying to be like, it's tough, right? Because I'm really really supportive of the fact that there's an Asian lead of this film, and like
Totally.
I don't want to be like, well, the white girl should have been the lead. And that is complicated in talking about this. I just feel like...
But her story was more interesting. They should have given him... Like, he deserved to have something more tangible than what he got. Because...
And to just give him choices and make him active. Whereas, like, Sonya does all of the...
She's been researching this for years. Yeah. She knows exactly what's going on. She's got the... Kano? What? It was like Kane?
Well, and she shows up even though she doesn't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is just more interesting. And so, like, the fact that Cole shows up because he has to, gets sent home, not his choice. You know what I mean? Like, he just, like, being beaten up a lot isn't a character.
Yeah.
And they kind of treat it like that. Well, no, but he keeps getting back up every time he gets hit. And I'm like, okay...
Doesn't mean anything. Like,
it doesn't mean anything when
an active participant in his own life.
Well, and Raiden is like, go home to your family, and I'm like, can't they like track him? Like, and they immediately do, right? Like Goro immediately shows up, and maybe Raiden is like hoping that his family will get attacked, so he gets his powers, which is dark.
Honestly, I feel like that's what it was.
Yeah, but like then that's again Raiden making the choice though. That's the lead character not being active in the decision.
Yeah. No, everything was manipulated around him,
and so then Raiden just becomes like Dumbledore 2.0.
Yeah, literally.
Like, and that's fine, and like, when Cole is in the action sequences, it's great. Like he moves really well. Mm-hmm. Obviously, like, he's great. It's just the script didn't give him the autonomy to like really be a character. Yeah. I don't know. Weird. It's a weird movie. It's a really like it because it makes mistakes that we've seen so many video game adaptations make, that you would just think by now
people would like maybe learn from that, but nope.
Yeah,
we don't like to learn from our mistakes.
Like,
as human beings.
Who owned the rights to Mortal Kombat and had writers come into the room and be like, pitch. All right, let me pitch you a movie. We call it Mortal Kombat. And the people behind the table are like, oh, okay, so it's like the martial arts tournament. Yeah, except not the tournament. Okay, that's the plot of Mortal Kombat. And they're like, yes, yeah. It's before the tournament. Oh, okay, so it's a whole movie that's training? No. You know how they can't cheat in the video games? In the movie, they can. Okay.
Yeah,
so people are just fighting because there's a tournament coming up where they're supposed to fight each other?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Cool. That's the plot of this movie. Like,
yep, somebody gave that the green light.
And I'm confused by that. I'm really confused by that. Mm-hmm. Because then just don't call it Mortal Kombat. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I can't recommend the movie, like I said, unless you want to see some like stabbity stab.
I feel like this is this movie should have come out a little bit earlier, because this is the perfect movie to watch on 420. For reasons. Yeah, love being 420 Canadian. Reasons. Love being Canadian. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know what else to talk about. There's a lot of fights. The fights are pretty good. Yeah. Jax is great. I like him a lot. Kano's great. And the cast is all really well cast. There's not like a movie here. It's like...
There's no personality.
A bunch of scenes that are individually good or bad. Yeah. That are not really connected by much. No. Well, I have a feeling we're not going to get cast in Mortal Kombat 2. But we are going to keep making videos on the internet, so you can like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss more spoiler chats from these two ridiculous faces. You can also follow us over on Twitch. God. Twitch! I'm over at twitch.tv/nerdynightly.
I'm over at twitch.tv/ClarisJakaris.
And we don't have anything else to plug, so, do something nerdy tonight.
There we go.
My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
You know how this video had to end. Mortal Kombat!